Hello, Covington County. Welcome to Good News Covington County with Cousin Jared and Brother John today, a Thursday, the 18th day of April 2018. Glad to have you here with us. Hope everything's going well in your world, and we're sure trying to make it go well in ours. It's a great day. We're starting out a little later than usual. It's been a hectic and trying day for us, but we're glad to be back with you. Nobody's sick, no one's ill. We just kind of been spread to the wind. I hope that you enjoyed yesterday's programming. If you like politics, you should have gotten all your fill in between the different interviews that we were able to give you and the broadcast of the Covington County's Republican Party meet and greet that occurred at Doc's Restaurant in Opp. Night before last, and we'll continue to broadcast many of those things over and over. We'll also be bringing you more interviews with the men and women that are running for the various offices here in our district, here in our county, and in the state as well. We want this to be a place for you to come and get your political news without any political bias. We have a good relationship with many of these candidates, and with every one of them we've told them, we'll be glad to have them on here to do a one viewing, and they can say what they want to in that time, but they also go with the know that with us, if you go negative on anybody, that'll probably be the end of the show. There are enough issues out there for all of our politicians to talk about without talking badly about the people that they're running against. And we've got some very, very, very capable and good people running for all kind of offices here in the state. I want to start out with kind of an apology to Maggie Jones at the Andalusia Area Chamber of Commerce. She's the assistant, I guess, director, whatever title you want to use for Maggie. She does it all. Any title that was positive would be good for her. We had her scheduled to do an interview yesterday afternoon where we were going to talk about the big cleanup for Covington County this weekend. In fact, it's such a big cleanup, it actually starts tomorrow, Friday the 19th at Walmart. 20th, excuse me, April 20th at 8 a.m. And it's a big deal. It's a joint operation between the Andalusia Chamber of Commerce, the Opp Chamber of Commerce, the Covington County Emergency Management Agency, and people in general. The initiative's called Don't Drop It on Alabama. If you'd like to participate in it, April 20th from 8 a.m. to noon, show up at the Walmart here in Andalusia at about 8 a.m. This is what they call the Covington County Spring Cleanup, and it's really going to be a week-long effort to make the prettiest county in the state of Alabama the most pristine as well. It's sponsored by the Alabama People Against a Littered State. It's a statewide organization. It's a statewide project to try to make our county and the rest of these counties even more beautiful. Cleaning up litter on streets and those kind of things is an important thing. And they thought that they would start on Friday with the Highway 84, that's a corridor that passes pretty well through Covington County. Try to clean that up from Opp all the way to Andalusia and on either side of both towns and here in the county and get it cleaned up. Of course, it'll be a great benefit for the entire county. We had somebody come by and yell at us. I guess that's all right too. Those who sign up with the Andalusia Chamber of Commerce or show up pretty much Friday morning at 8 o'clock at Walmart will receive a free breakfast. They'll be provided with gloves and, of course, bags and that kind of stuff to pick up with. It'll be a great opportunity to serve Andalusia and do something unselfish for yourself. I'm going to give you the schedule. Saturday, April 21st and Sunday, April 22nd are the weekend winners. They're encouraging residents to set aside time on that weekend to clean up their own areas at their house. Monday, April 23rd, the Miracle Mile Makers. All groups walk a mile on the road of their choosing and try to clean it up. Tuesday, April 24th, Truck route takedown. Groups will work on the truck routes in their area to get them cleaned up. Wednesday, what does my property look like day? They want individuals in your neighborhood to get together and walk around and look at each other's property and see if they can help each other make their neighborhoods look better. Neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend. Thursday, April 26th, through town. Teams will make an effort to walk through the town and do a pickup and beautify their own city. Walk around the square and pick up paper, clean up leaves, those kind of things. Make it look better. Go downtown clean it up, make it look beautiful. Then on Friday, April 27th, it's Our Friends Friday. And they want teams to try to find an area outside the area they signed up for and help a neighboring community clean it up. Maybe a good time to go to Sanford or somewhere like that. Saturday is Grand Slam Saturday. That's the day that they want all of us to go to churches, colleges, schools, places like that, parks, and pick those areas up. Now, this is a volunteer effort, but we sure want you to take the time to participate. Our neighbors' hoods are as good as our neighbors make them, and our city is as clean as we will be willing to make them. Hope you'll participate in that. If you want more details, call the Andalusia or Opp Chamber of Commerce, and they'll be glad to help you. Now, we got to close now for a minute. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Good News Covington County with Brother John and Cousin Jared, coming to you live. Well, by the time you see it, it won't be so live. It'll be a tape broadcast coming to you from our studios here on Court Square in Andalusia, Alabama, on this Thursday, the 18th of, what's this month? April 2018. Is it 19th? Dadgum, I got to get glasses. It sure is. No wonder. I've been totally confused. Time flies when you're having fun or when you go out of town. Wanted to cover something that was in yesterday's Andalusia Star News, an article written by Michelle Gerlach, because I think it's important to all of us as taxpayers. And I think that we need to understand some things that this article makes clear. And it's about the Andalusia Council considering the pay raises for 2020. Tuesday, the Andalusia City Council had a reading of their proposed ordinance to raise the pay of elected officials. Now, it's interesting, and I think this is more than fair, that the Alabama law does not allow a council or commission to raise its own pay, but it can set the pay for the next administration. And I think that's fair. It keeps people from voting just strictly in their own interest, unless they've got a dynasty and their name's William J. Daley and they live in Chicago. Earl Johnson said that the pay of city officials was last adjusted in 2006. Now, Earl's our mayor, if you don't know that, and it was elected and sworn for the people that went in 2008. If enacted, and they have to have hearings about this, if it's enacted, it will not take, the raises will not take effect until the year 2020. So, know all this is set up by the state legislature. I guess to, if lack of a better word, keep them straight. I like the way it's structured. The proposed ordinance sets a biweekly salary for the mayor of $2,596.12 for a total of $67,500 a year. And if I had the money, and I love Andalusia, I don't think I'd be a mayor for that amount of money. But it'd be nice if I had it. The council members would be paid $375 per biweekly pay period for a total of $9,750 per year. The council members would be increased by $225 per month after completing their basic certified municipal official classes. And then there's an additional $225 a month they can gather if they take the advanced classes. If the resolution is approved, the total pay for elected officials would be increased by approximately $144,000 over a period of time. That represents only 2% of the annual salaries paid by the city, but it is an increase. You know, I'm not one way or the other, but I do want you to make aware that they've not had a raise since 2008, and this is only a 2% increase if it works out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is something that's big happening in Andalusia this weekend. How many of y'all know Ricky Skaggs? How many of you have heard of him? He's quite the musician. I guess owner of one of the best mullets in country music, but a mandolin player superb, par excellence. He and his group will be at LBW on Saturday, April 21st, for a fundraiser for the LBW Community College Foundation. I read the article. It doesn't look like Ricky thinks he's ever been to Andalusia, Alabama before. So I bet when he comes in here, they're going to have some of Dean's cakes from Dean's Cake House for him. And if he doesn't remember us, he'll sure remember Miss Dean's Cakes. He's here for as a part of a week that's pretty busy. This week he'll be in Shelby, North Carolina, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, and then to Andalusia. It's interesting to have him here because he was just nominated for the Grand Ole Opry Hall of Fame. And that's a wonderful thing. Folks, if you liked, how many of you, I don't need to see a raise of hand because I can't see it. But how many of you enjoyed Brother Where Art Thou, the movie? That movie had some great music by the great Ralph Stanley, and some of it was Ralph Stanley and his brother. Great mandolin player. Ricky Skaggs is along the same lines as Ralph Stanley. In fact, he's played with him before Ralph died. Great musician. We're going to be lucky to have him here. Please go out and see them. The prices are, I believe, $25, $35, and $75. $25 in advance, $35 at the gate, and then they have a special ticket, $75 a piece, for like a VIP ticket where you'll get to have a meet and greet with him and those kind of things. Remember this, it's nice to get the entertainment, but this isn't about Ricky Skaggs and entertainment. This is about creating extra funds for our community college to have more outreach and scholarships for the students that attend there. It's all a good thing, and I know Andalusia and Covington County is a giving area. We want them to continue that. Last but not least, there's a short article, again by Michelle Gerlach, that I would encourage you to read about the situation at the Bright Beginnings kindergarten and pre-care over here on Seeger Street, preschool on Seeger Street. It goes into further detail about what's been going on there for the last few years, and it's a wonderful facility, and I sure hope they can work it out where it's equitable to everybody. Anyway, our time's up for this segment. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Good News Covington County with Brother John and Cousin Jared. We've got news from today's Star News that we want to cover. One of the things, though, that we want to make sure that we get out to everybody that's a member of the Andalusia Chamber of Commerce is that on the 25th of this month, which is, I believe, a Wednesday, at 7:30 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce, they'll be having their monthly breakfast, chamber breakfast. It'll be sponsored by the people at Walt, Massey, Nissan, Dodge, good folks. I bought 3 cars from them. I can't endorse everybody out there, but the folks I've worked with, they've been most helpful, and they've helped us into some nice cars, and they'll sure help you into a nice one too. One of the lead stories in today's paper, though, is one that's kind of interesting to me because I like dogs and cats, and I come from a family of dog and cat lovers, and I've been in the doghouse in my life, so this is a great story. Andalusia Police Department's adding a canine to their drug team, and it's not going to be as a mascot. He's a very important part of the team. Officer Kevin Norris is the canine handler, and he's got a dog that he's named Rico. And Rico's a young animal that they brought into the department to help them with drug sniffing. They've been training him for several months. I think they started him when he was only about 10 or 11 months old. Now he's about 13 or 14 months, and he's a puppy with a mission. They're going to let him move comfortably into that position, but in time, they'll dual certify him so that he can also be a bomb sniffing dog. And it's just amazing what they can do with these dogs. Rico's a good looking German Shepherd. I mean, he's got all the interesting things about him. The nice thing about these German Shepherds or other dogs that they use, they live with their handlers. They're family to that animal's family to the handler, and the handler's family to the dog. And these are incredible people that work with these animals, and the animals do an incredible job for them. We're glad to have them on board, glad to have Officer Rico working with us. I want to tell you a story about German Shepherds, police dogs, and two of my old bachelor uncles that were just the greatest influence on me in the world. They loved to hunt and fish. Their name was John and Will J. And when I was a little bitty boy, somehow or another they heard about these marvelous dogs that the American Army had run into in World War II when they got into Germany. Well, they were, in fact, German Shepherds and German police dogs that had been trained. Well, about this time, here comes television. And guess who we see on it? We see Rin Tin Tin and Lassie and all these other smart dogs that could do everything but pass a driver's exam. John and Will, being two avid bird hunters, realized that they could possibly upgrade the stock of their bird hunting if they could get the right dog. For over a year, they worked and hooked and crooked to try to get a German Shepherd down here that they could teach to be a bird dog. It didn't work. Finally, through some connections that I'm not sure that I would want to know all about, they ended up with two of them. They brought the dogs in, they fed them, they tried to be nice to them, they worked with them, they throw things out for them to retrieve, talk to them, pet them, do everything they could, and the dogs wouldn't do anything, but it's very obvious they were smart animals. After about 4 weeks of this, they were out one afternoon, and this young man came in that wanted to look at some of their bird dogs. And he'd just gotten back from the Army. He'd been stationed in Germany, and he walked over and he looks at these two German Shepherds and he starts talking to them. The dogs sit up, they pay attention, they roll over, they'll lay on their backs, they'll go fetch, they'll do everything. And my Uncle Will walked over to the guy and he said, "How do you get them to do that?" He says, "Well, I'm talking to him." He says, "Yeah, well, I talk to them and they don't do anything." I said, "Well, do you speak to them in German?" And my Uncle Will said, "German? I can't even hardly speak English. You want me to speak German?" He says, "Yeah, these dogs are trained in German." He says, "Well, my God, I'll never be able to train them." And he walked over to his brother Will, and Will walked over to his brother John and said, "John, I told you I wasn't stupid. These dogs don't speak a damn word of English." And sometimes I think that is the way that it is with us when we're trying to deal with challenging things. They've got a wonderful dog here, and I guarantee you that Officer Kevin Norris knows what he's doing and how he's talking to his dog. There's also, we got somebody that's retiring from the police department. I know her, I think a lot of her, and that's Lieutenant Alice Donaldson. After 25 years with the police department, she's wrapping up her career. And she lives not far from where my sister does. I used to see her a lot more often than I do, but she's straight as a string. I'm proud to say she's a friend of mine, but I tell you what I'm even prouder of is some of her achievements. She's done a good job on the police department. She's the first African American, or, you know, I don't know what the term in vogue is, but she is the first person of color, and being a female, to be picked to be a lieutenant on the Andalusia Police Department. We've had lieutenants of color, but never one that was a woman and a person of color. That's a big deal in my mind. We've come a long way, and she talks about that in the article. She talks about how she works with her team, and it's very obvious that she's very devoted to them and they're very devoted to her. And I would recommend that you take the time to read this article about Alice Donaldson, a real star in the crown of Andalusia. What a great person. We're so glad to have her here, and I'm so glad to see her get the recognition she deserves. Now we're going to take a break here. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Good News Covington County with Brother John and Cousin Jerry. We're talking about other news here in town. One of the things that we talked about last Friday, and we did a segment with actually recorded and broadcast a segment about the blue ribbon ceremonies that we had on the square. That's an activity sponsored by the Child Advocacy Center. This is an ongoing thing. They fund a lot of their own work, but they do I guess the word I'm looking for is an underappreciated job that affects an awful lot of lives, and many times in very positive ways. They're the advocates for children that come out of abused homes, and that abuse is not always physical. It may be mental, it may be verbal, it may just not be enough food. They're helping with that. They're going to have on the 9th day of, let me make sure I'm reading that right, because I think it is, 9th day of May, that's a Wednesday. They're going to have their fall box lunch sale. They're not their fall, but their box lunch sale for the spring. They had one last fall, did real well with it. It's good food. It's about $10. They sell about last fall they sold close to 1,000 of them. You can imagine how much that helps to have that as a part of their budget. The good thing about it is this is all locally done. Much of the facilities they use are provided through the Southside Baptist Church over there. If you'd like to participate in that, the lunchbox will include a chicken shack chicken salad, fruit punch, a fruit bowl, fresh fruit, pickles, a yeast roll, dessert, a napkin, a fork, and a knife, plus a surprise. I guess the surprise is it's going to be so wonderful. The deadline to order your lunch boxes is May 2nd, and if you order them in time, they'll even deliver it to you from 11 o'clock until 1 p.m. on May 9th. This pays for the intervention, a lot of the intervention that they do here in Covington County. Last year they had 62 forensic interviews. That's a little over 5 a month. That involved 122 counseling sessions to children. That's that's 12 a month. And that's not free. I've watched them, places that I've worked, come in and take the children out and counsel with them and bring the child back. Oftentimes it's like a totally different child after they've worked with them. It's a very positive thing that goes on. Another thing that they're talking about, and this is over in Opp, and it's a guy I know. Don't know him as well as I know his brother, but this is a pretty famous person from Opp, and his name's Mike Dubose. If you're my age and you hung around football in Covington County in the late 60s, you knew there was a guy over in Opp, Alabama that would hit you so hard sometimes you'd wake up and your clothes would be out of style when you came to. He'd hit you that hard. And that was Mike Dubose. He played linebacker and defensive end at Opp High School. Had a brother named Jim that's a good friend of mine. Jim was one of the best chess players I've ever met in my life, but they were both good athletes. Jim played at Troy. Mike went a little further up the road and played at the University of Alabama for Coach Bear Bryant. Did an outstanding job there, and after he left college, he went and coached in a number of different places. And in the end, he came back to coach at his old alma mater, the University of Alabama, where he was a head coach, and earned a whole lot of great awards and recognition. I want to go down that list for you for just a minute here on what Mike did. I mean, this is outstanding. This is a resume you would want. He played in the Cotton, Sugar, and Orange Bowl. He played in 3 SEC championships and 1 national title. In case you don't know it, you get rings about that big when you do that kind of stuff. He began as assistant football coach at Fairhope High School, athletic director and head football coach at Prattville High School, which is still a dynasty, defensive line coach at the University of Tennessee, defensive line coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, head football coach at Northview High School, head football coach and athletic director at Luverne High School, defensive coordinator and head coach at Millsaps College, defensive line coach at the University of Memphis, and now he is a part-time assistant coach at Opp High School. During his many years of coaching, he earned The Alabama High School Coach of the Year, SEC Award, SEC Working Coach of the Year, SEC Coach of the Year, and the Paul Bryant National Coach of the Year Award. Folks, that's not something that you pick up on the side of the street, not loose change. He was also a finalist and 2 times unanimous SCAC Coach of the Year. He established the Mike DuBose Charities benefiting the American Cancer Society and the Alabama Kidney Society, as well as other organizations. He's active in the Rotary Club in Opp. He's also a part-time coach at Opp High School. And I'll tell you this, if they'll just listen to him, he'll show you how to play some football. He's a good man. And as I say, there's an awful lot of people around here that had some first-hand experiences with Mike DuBose that were, shall I say, attention-grabbing. The Chamber of Commerce in Opp is going to recognize Mike DuBose as Opp's own at the Hall of Fame membership banquet on May 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Opp Depot. Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to our last segment of Good News Covington County with Brother John and Cousin Jared here on Thursday. Got a little bit of sports news. Andalusia's doing real well in baseball. Opp's doing extremely well. Red Levels had a better than average year, and the Pleasant Home Eagles are also headed to the playoffs. So we've got baseball galore around here. And today or tomorrow, I think Friday is when the real action starts here in Alabama, in Andalusia. I think that, Friday, Andalusia will host Monroe County for the first round of the Class 4A state playoffs. Andalusia is ranked number 10 in the state, and they have a record of 20 wins and 4 losses. Got an excellent team there. They've got a lot of good contributors. Ethan Wilson, who plays all over the place, is both a pitcher and a hitting machine. He's batting .516 with 33 hits, 36 runs scored, 6 doubles, 7 triples, 8 stolen bases, and 4 home runs. He's tied with a team high of 26 RBIs. He's also led them on the mound with 7 appearances with no losses, 37 innings pitched, and 71 strikeouts in those 37 innings. He hasn't allowed a single earned run, and the Bulldogs have a .73 earned run average under him. And Jacob Cravey, who is his backup, is not a real step back because Jacob's ERA is only .89. That's with 6 wins out of 7 games. Cravey struck out 39 batters in 39 innings. Now, let me tell you, Jacob Cravey's a long, tall drink of water, but he's a young'un. He's got the best years in front of him playing. And then Garrett Davis and Hogan Nichols have both been an excellent job on board there for the Bulldogs, as well as Sebastian Stallworth, who's batted .364 with 28 hits, 21 RBIs, and 4 doubles. We sure hope that they do well against Monroe County. Pleasant Home Eagles. Now they're 10-9 in Class 1A Area 3, and they'll host Kinston, and that's actually going on starts at about 4 o'clock today, Thursday. And we hope they'll do well in that game. I think they played Kinston this year twice, and they've split 1-1 with them. Then the Opp Bobcats are headed, looks like, toward a state championship as well. They're playing in Area 3, and they're 19-6 this year. That's pretty strong baseball for Covington County. They're going to play T.R. Miller on Friday. That's tomorrow, in the opening round of the Class 3A playoffs. The Bobcats have been led by 3 players, all of which are batting over .400. Cody Richburg bats .448 and drove in 13 runs. Dylan Grider finished the regular season with a .440 batting average and with 11 runs batted in. Trey Moody finished the year again with a 4.44 average and drove in 8 runs. I tell you what, they could swing that stick and make the ball hurt with those kind of averages. And then Red Level, who has posted a 7-11 season thus far this year, take the road against Houston County in the first round of the Class 1A playoffs. They're a young team. They want to try to do their best in the playoffs, and we're really, really proud for them. What baseball in Covington County. I tell you what else. Strawn's got a great little team that's been doing a good job up there. Little old Austin Smith and a bunch of his buddies have done a fine job of playing up there, and it seems like everybody that they've played has been bigger than they are, stronger than they are, and everything else. But they've hung in there like a hair and a biscuit to make it a good season for them, and we're proud for those young men and women at Strawn and all the other county schools that are doing so well. I guess the last thing we need to talk about is about the weather. Folks, we've had great weather today. We're going to have great weather tonight, and Friday's going to be a wonderful day as well. So it's a good time to get out and enjoy this wonderful pollen, sniff the pine trees and the pecan trees, get out and mow your yard, clean your gardens out. If you hadn't planted your garden, it'd be a good time to do it, because on Saturday, we've got about a 30 or 40% chance of rain coming in here. If you had a nice, well-planted garden, it'd be a great time to get some rain on it, wouldn't it? Now, I've already got a buddy that's got 20 tomato plants out, and I'm planning on his generosity. If there are any others out there that would like to contribute to the waistline and the bad health of the J family, please, all donations in terms of food are accepted. I believe that my buddy Jared Easton would even take a mate or two if it was right. We love them all, and we love y'all all too. Thanks for watching us today, and I hope that you'll stay with us tomorrow and watch us as we bring you more good news from Covington County. See you tomorrow.